Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Fun Flip Repeat. I am your private money lender, Joel Cadlick, and with me today, Tez Arbertha. I am super excited for this episode because Tez is the absolute man. And real quick, Tez, before I let you take it, I also want to kind of introduce the audience of kind of how we met and a little bit about your story. So correct me if I'm wrong when I get into the summary here, but Tez and I met just a few years ago. I met him, he was a guest speaker at our local Tulsaria, which is a real estate investors association networking meetup. I was like, I'm going to go see what this guy has to say. Instantly, I had a connection with him. We had done many similar things in our journey as far as investing and in our experience. And then come to find out, Tez puts on this amazing thing called OKC Evolve, which is arguably the largest real estate investor conference in Oklahoma of its time. I said, I've got to be a part of that. How can I participate? I was honored to be able to sponsor in some of that event with Tez, and it was absolutely phenomenal. So Tez has a heart for giving back and being a go-giver and building community. So a little backstory on Tez, that's kind of how we met. From my understanding, Tez was a very high up in sales for a big time builder, home builder. And he then found wholesaling. And in wholesaling, he built a 7-figure wholesale company. And then he exited that. And now he's created this wonderful community where he is giving back, teaching others exactly step by step what he's doing, which is called Verified Flippers. And amongst all the other crazy stuff that he's going on. But guys, that's a little backstory on Tez. Hopefully I got some of that right, man, and super excited you're on the pod.
Man, first of all, I don't know how to follow up that introduction. I don't even know if I want to talk about myself. Oh, I can podcast over, right? Like we're done. No, Joe, thank you so much, brother. I really appreciate the introduction, but also, man, I appreciate just you being so knowledgeable on my past. Everything was right on par, and dude, it's been really cool to get to know you. I know that you also helped some of my students in terms of lending, got some deals done there, and you were the very first sponsor of OKC Evolve. So man, I want to tell you thank you so much. I remember being on that phone call with it being honestly the very first real estate conference that I put on, where I had sponsors get involved at all, and I was super like, man, I don't know what to ask for this thing. Is it gonna? Does other people see it worth it? And Joe, you were somebody like, man, this is honestly very much worth it. I definitely want to be a part of it. And you gave me that peace of mind when I went to go talk to other people about being a part of it, and the confidence as well to make it happen. So, bro, I just want to tell you thank you so much, man, for that, and thank you for all that you're doing in the community. Yeah, man. So that's pretty much. Yeah, that's pretty much everything on me, bro. You got it all right. Background in new home construction. Oh, that, man, after that, jumped into wholesaling, man, and we rolled our business out in phases, right? So first was wholesale. We wanted to get that cash up. Then we started to buy rental properties. Then we started to fix and flip and our goal was to jump into commercial and then start wholesaling commercial. But in between wholesaling commercial and where I am now, or where we were, coaching arise. Started to post some content on social media, seeing that a lot of people didn't have the knowledge, and they were willing to learn, but at the capacity at which they were coming in, I couldn't keep up with it. So I said, you know what? I'm going to design this online training product. And at the time, my business partner wasn't super comfortable with it, and we were going back and forth about it. But ultimately, to protect the relationship, I decided to leave the company. And honestly, the dude called me the other day. We're supposed to be getting coffee soon. So great relationship. Yeah, years later, right? Like years later.
Yeah, that's great.
And he was able to conserve their relationship. And it honestly just came full circle. Probably last week, he reached out just randomly, like, hey, bro, how you doing? And I thought it was special because I don't think we would have that same relationship or openness to reach out to each other had I stayed there. Because I would have just grown bitter. He would have known it. My production probably would have dropped off. And we wouldn't be where we are. So, I don't know. Just opening this thing up, I would just always tell people just a little piece of advice for relationships first, because it definitely has proven to really work in my business and in my life.
Bam. Absolutely. And we talk a lot about that too on this pod, is like relationships, strategic partnerships. Those are so important. No matter what kind of avenue, even it's not even real estate specific, right? It's life in general, which is like super important. So Tez, as you know, Fun Flipper Pete, we're on here to try and help folks with their journey, whatever stage they're at. We're also trying to help people get the money for their deals since we're private lenders. But like, I would love for you to kind of tell us a little bit about like verified flippers, and we'll kind of dive into it from there.
Absolutely, bros. When it comes to verified flippers, as you know, as I just kind of talked about, it birthed for me having success in wholesaling and then posting some content, and then a lot of people reaching out. And I've been doing in real estate this year.
Let me back. So verified flippers, this is your coaching platform.
Yes. Sorry.
Okay.
Yes.
So,
yep.
Okay.
Verified flippers. Yep. Is my coaching community. Sorry about that.
Community. Yep.
It's my coaching community that I'm building. We are somewhere around 600 active members in verified flippers. It's been very fruitful for me and my family, but also all the people who are part of it, as long as they plug in and take advantage of the information that's there. We do in-person events. We do virtual calls every day of the week, Monday through Friday. We're having coaching calls and just adding value to these people, man.
Awesome. Okay. And that's why again, especially for the audience, I'm so excited to have you on here, because not only have you had the active experience, I think it's such a beautiful thing being a go-giver and being like a generous expert as well, because like your ability to help people also helps you grow tremendously as well. So it's just this naturally beautiful thing. So you have experience of being, the guy on the ground, the boots on the ground, doing the deals, but you also have a really quite amazing thing to be able to see hundreds of others in their journeys, which just gives you like so many different angles and perspectives, and you see more problems, right? Which is a good thing. The more things you can see, the more things you kind of identify, the more problems you can solve. So like in your experience with verified flippers in your own community, like what's like some piece of advice, or what are some of the consistent things that you see that might like hold people back from, not being able to make it happen in their journey, or maybe some mindset stuff, or like, what does that look like for you? I mean, you can kind of share anything you'd like on that, but I'm sure you kind of start to see patterns,
Absolutely, Joe. And this may or may not shock other people. I know it won't shock you, but one of the biggest things that I'm seeing, and I just talked about it this week, is the lack of community. And when I say that, people are in the community, but still not understanding how big it is. Like, they hear the word and I think they think that it's a lead magnet or it's just something cool to say, but like you have to utilize the people around you. And so one of the biggest things that I see in the community is that people can complement each other and missions can align, and they can go very far together if they utilize the true meaning of why I started the community. So example, you're successful in wholesaling by one or two ways: time or money. And I think that has a lot to do with almost any industry, but wholesaling specifically is what I can speak to. And investing is, if you don't have the time, then you got to be willing to put in money. And what I mean by that is, either you're doing the cold calling, you're doing the dropping for dollars, you're sitting down with real estate agents, you're running the ads for yourself, you're doing all these things yourself, or you pay someone else to do the cold calling. You pay somebody else to run your ads. You pay somebody else, right? That's the only way you can be successful. Either you're going to put in the sweat equity, or you're going to actually put up money. Now, how does this correlate to community? Well, you have people in there that may not have a job, or they may have a job where they work nights and they have all the time to actually commit, but they don't have funds or resources to invest, or they don't yet have proof of concept to believe that they want to do it yet, right? It's a lot to put up $500,000, $2,000 a month in marketing and not know if a deal's coming, right?
Absolutely.
So if you don't have the money or the proof of concept enough to make that investment, find somebody who does, because there's another person over here who's in the community who works their butt off. They have a good job, they make good money, but they don't have the time. And they're like, man, I really want to wholesale, but shoot, if I'm gonna spend $1,000 for a cold caller in a month and have 50 leads, and I can't follow up with them, I can't call them, I can't go to appointments, I can't make offers, I can't do the things that Tez is asking me to do, I can't tune in on coaching calls. So if I were that person, I would, or those two people, I would try to identify synergy to figure out how we can work together. Look, I'll complement this, we can start something together where, hey, it ain't got to be a company together, but we can agree that any deal we take across the finish line, we'll just split the fee 50-50. Rather it be a $5,000 fee, $50,000
interesting,
fee,
yeah.
right? So utilizing that community, I see a lot of people just not doing it. So they catch themselves there with one or the other, kind of like, peanut butter without jelly or jelly without peanut butter, right? And they just kind of give up. They kind of give up, right? They kind of like, well, no, this thing don't work, man. Like I called like 50 people today and it doesn't work because they just call when they have time, which is 8 o'clock when they get home. Instead of finding someone to split it with, everybody just wants the entire pie, right? And they try to instantly become this big company. Like I want to do 50K deals. I want to do all this stuff, but to divide, you got to be willing to sacrifice half of it just to get somewhere. And maybe one day after going 50, that can add up to where you can have the time or you do have the money and resources to hire somebody. So you're no longer 50-50 in deals. But I just see so many people not willing to make that sacrifice.
Yeah, that is so good. So there's a lot of gold you just said, right? And the thing that I find really interesting is that what you're talking about are two really, really important things. And we actually talked about this on the podcast quite a bit as well, is one, if you're struggling with like not knowing how to do something, it's like what we like to say is borrow somebody else's confidence. So you could go to Verified Flippers and borrow Tez and his confidence for your own self by just following the steps, right? Because it can be scary. You might not have the $5,000 to do marketing or something, but like if you want to make sure that you're setting yourself up for the absolute best success, go follow in somebody's footsteps who's already done that. And that's borrowing confidence from like Tez and his community and having that support network of everybody else as well. And then the second thing you kind of hit on, what I was taking away from it, Tez, was leverage. Is like, you can utilize leverage. You don't need the whole piece of the pie, right? Yeah. Leverage somebody else's skills or success. And maybe you don't have the time to do the calls, but the other guy does. So leverage that person and, play to your genius, play to your best abilities. And then, like you said, that comes in like synchronicity. And that's a really, really good thing. And then you can grow more with that. And as you grow, your business allows you the ability to add and layer in more things. And maybe at that point that changes for you, but there's nothing wrong with splitting the pie. Actually, we've talked about this plenty of times on this pod too, is like most people's stories start that way. You know what I mean? Who we've talked to, who we've interviewed, is exactly that. Borrowing confidence, leverage. Love everything you had to say about that. So,
yes, sir.
Verified Flippers. So I want to talk about, it was something that I would love to hear from you, right? As the wholesaler, as the guy.
Yeah.
Wholesalers can sometimes get like this, there's good and bad of everything. Wholesalers can sometimes get like this gray, little bit of a bad rap. And when, in our community, Fun Flip Repeat, it's like we preach that going out and engaging and creating connections with other wholesalers that are actually true and meaningful relationships will set you apart and be somebody that they actually look at on their buyers list. And that's what you want if you're going to get these deals, right? Because that's a marketing channel in and of itself for like the flipper or the burr person or whatever their strategy is making these connections with the wholesalers. The wholesalers are out there beating the streets, doing a ton of marketing, sales, negotiations, getting the contracts, dealing with really, really, really difficult seller situations. And, you can build a wholesaler network just like the wholesalers is building a buyer network. And again, together, that can be a really, really great thing. But how can someone like stick out of the crowd as a buyer for a wholesaler? Like what would be meaningful to a wholesaler from a buyer's perspective, and viewing them for the value that they're providing and not like, oh, this guy's just trying to make $1.
Man, dude, the last ending right there. Look, at least in my community and on my social media platform, if you're a wholesaler out there, I always tell them, look for an opportunity to learn and earn. And what I mean by that, wholesaling presents that opportunity, but you have to want it, right? You can't just, hey, Joel, here's a $5,000 fee. Thank you for doing it. What I'm looking for, even if I can go make an additional $5K with someone else, I may take the lesser offer, but I may ask that buyer, hey, is it okay if I follow along and understand exactly what you do with this deal? Like don't try to keep me in just a wholesaler box. And I think that's one of the biggest things. But the wholesaler has to also want that, right? But as a buyer, if I'm somebody talking to a wholesaler, I'm saying that, hey, man, look, you can sell me this deal. A lot of buyers may not teach you this strategy that I'm going to use, but you don't want to be a wholesaler forever, right? You don't want to just beat the street forever. You don't want to have to work for every dollar that you earn, right? Like it's just like exchanging your time, going to a job. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to learn how to invest, right? I want you to learn how to invest so that way you don't have to always sell me your deals. Maybe you sell me 5 or 6, right? But And maybe you're going to get a better offer, but you may not get somebody like me who's willing to teach you what they do with the deal after, because that's where the real money comes into play, right? So look, here's what I'm going to do, Joe. Joe being the host now. Joe, here's what I'm going to do, bro. I'll take you around. You can meet my contractor, right? I'll introduce you to my lender, right? I'll teach you how to do it once you're ready, your credit is ready, or you're in a better situation or whatever. Maybe you are there now. You don't know it. Look, after you sell me this deal, I'll show you how those things. Sound good? Perfect.
Sounds good.
And that's what I would do as a buyer, just to educate the wholesaler who may just be trying to make a quick buck. Because when I first got into wholesaling, I knew that what was next for me. I knew I was going to then buy rentals. I knew I was going to, and I had the credit and I had the money because I had a good job and I had the know-how, right? But a lot of wholesalers don't. They're just trying to pay their bills. And I think that, you have to know that I treat wholesaling as an ATM. So if the deal doesn't work, I want some money. I need to finish this flip, or I need to pay some stuff, or what? Okay, I'll let it go. I'll novate it, or I'll do something with it. But I also know when I come across really good deals that I can take it down and I can keep it, right? That happened with like 7 deals last year where I just kept it because I didn't get the offer I wanted. So I think that that's one big thing. If I'm a buyer that I'm going to say to a wholesaler, it's a very strong piece that's not just salesy, it's true. It's very true. You need to learn.
Interesting. Yeah.
So
that's really good. So you're inviting them in, number one, but like, what if the roles were reversed? Like, what if it was like, I've got a crazy experienced wholesaler, but I'm not a very experienced buyer. And the buyer is like, I can't get any deals from wholesalers because no one will give me a time of day. You know what I mean?
I see. Where the buyer's inexperienced and it's one of their first deals. I see.
Yeah. And they're trying to get on the list and they can't get noticed. How are they going to be able to cut through the noise to get the wholesaler's attention? Is there some things that you see that work with that? Or
I would say be extremely consistent. And if they're a rock star wholesaler and you're trying to get in contact with them, I would just stay top of mind. I would treat them as if they're a seller. I would follow up because they are a seller, right? Like I would.
Wow, that's good. I like that.
Yeah, I would follow up.
Yeah.
100%. They are a motivated seller, right? We got 30 days to get this deal off, or sometimes 2 weeks. So I would 100% treat them as if they're a seller. I would constantly follow up with their wholesaler. Hey man, look, I know you didn't sell this deal to me. All good, man. Do you think I can get the next one? I just want to get a shot at the next one. You think that I can get a shot at the next one? You think I can take you? You think I can get a coffee for you? You think I just treat them like they're a seller? Try to build a relationship with them. If you wait until the email comes out, you're racing too many people. Once that deal is gone, if they have a walkthrough, go out, see what the best offer is. If you get beat out, build a relationship. And it may not be this one or the next one or the next one. So that person's going to send you a deal and give you a shot. And when they do, I'll get back to you. Run the numbers. I don't care where you are. Pull over, run the numbers, and have a sense of urgency. Be the first to make an offer. Do the best job you can to make an offer. Make the offer contingent upon walkthrough, but at least make them an offer. There's a lot of buyers out there who say, well, let me see it first. And I understand that. If I were you, I'll say, hey, here's an offer. All I have to do is go walk it to make sure. If you need to drop. The wholesaler's going to understand because they do it all the time. But at least shoot them an offer. At least get them a number. At least get them a starting point so they can have some confidence. And like, man, Joe always make me an offer, right? He's always just Johnny on the spot. Get as close as you can. Don't make it unrealistic. But I'm just saying things that stay top of mind with a wholesaler is going to always be urgency, right? Always be urgency.
Damn, man, I love that. That is like, it's such a good way to explain it. It's probably one of the best ways I've heard it explained, to be honest with you, because it breaks down the barrier for like these buyers, or, whether they're experienced or not, viewing the wholesaler as a motivated seller. And that is so true because listen, I have conversations, every week, people call me and they're like, hey, I've got this wholesaler posted this deal. I think it's a little inflated. And I'm like, number one, don't see a number, don't hear a number, run your own analysis and then make an offer. They can have an ARV. You might think it's inflated and that's okay. Their opinion doesn't matter. The buyer's opinion matters, right?
Yep.
Their opinion just doesn't matter. Like they're trying to get you the best, information that they can, and then it's up to you to do your own due diligence. The same thing comes in here. It's like, well, they have it listed for 145 on, like, let's say investor lift. I need to be at like 135, and I'm like, well, then just tell them you need to be at 135 and it's okay to make an offer. Like, it's funny because I do hear that, but that's such good way of explaining it is treat them as a motivated seller, be consistent, call, follow up, be top of mind, and just make offers. So for anybody who's listening, who has this different view of like wholesalers, pretty much how Tez explained it is exactly right. And it's not going to be, if they're a good wholesaler, it's not going to offend them, right? Because maybe you are coming in $5,000 or $10,000 lower, but they don't have any other options. And guess what? Their duty is to perform for their motivated seller. If they're a good wholesaler. So you're solving multiple problems, and it's okay. Even if they come back with a different number, right, and you negotiate, at least it lets you know where there's room and where they're at, right? And then you can have a conversation from there. So always make an offer.
Yo, one of the most frustrating things as a wholesaler, right, is whenever a buyer says, hey, let me get the information. You send it to them. You send it to 30 people and nobody comes back. And, maybe they think, well, I'm just not going to reply, and no reply is a reply. Or maybe, that's a crappy deal. I'm not even going to say anything back to this person. But that's one of the worst impressions. I'm not going to send that person the deal if I can avoid it. Again, at least come back and say, hey, Joel, by the way, this deal doesn't work, bro. I'm going to tell you why. Here's the numbers I ran, and what I'm getting is this. I think you're off by this, and here's a comp that supports what I think. Now, tell me if I'm missing something. That right there is an opportunity
100%.
to educate the person. If the person's full of crap, they know that you know now, and there's some reciprocity coming next time, right? So, like, if you can at least get back with a lower offer, hey, my offer actually needs to be 120. They're asking 145. My offer needs to be 120, and here's why. So give the why behind the what, right? Give the why behind the what. If you don't give the why behind the what, then the person's just going to assume that you just don't care about the relationship. Honestly, it's one of those things, man. It's just one of those things. It's almost common sense, but we definitely get a whole lot of buyers that just don't respond. And I don't think it's a thing of disrespect with most of them. I think it's a thing of, I don't want to hit them at 120. I think that may be offensive. Maybe, right?
Yes, I agree.
You know what I mean? I like to assume everybody's positive. This is just a positive world, and that's just the way I see it. So I don't like to think negative of other people. So I just think that they're just on the other side of they're like, this ain't going to work. But I mean, I could have a $50K fee. You have no idea. So, ask the questions, make the offer, to your point, Joe. I love that.
Well, and another thing too, man, is, and you kind of said this, it's like, a lot of people are making offers. Oh, I don't want to make the offer for 120. But another thing that I would say that you guys probably see as well is maybe there's a lot of offers, or they're doing like an investor open house and a lot of people show up, and then everyone's like, well, there's too many people showed up. There's too much competition. I'm not even going to try. And then the wholesaler's sitting there with no offers because maybe they did too good of a job marketing the property, and everyone just like disqualifies themselves. It's like, it's bananas. I've seen it. It's ridiculous. But it's like, follow your system. Don't break your rules. Every lead that you're interested in gets an offer. And don't treat the wholesaler like Facebook Marketplace. You know what I mean? Don't ask if it's still available and then ghost them forever. Like, nobody likes that, right?
It kills me. I would also say, as a new investor, 100% to your point, Joe, stick to your numbers no matter how much how crazy it looks and how good you got all these people lined up. Oh man, they all want it. And the wholesaler is just a sales guy, man. They're gonna do the best job they can to get the highest amount they can. So I got to offer 85, and you know that 80 is like the best you can do. Don't say, okay, I'll do 86 just to get the deal. Just wait, pray about it, take your time. Another deal will come. There's not a real estate emergency. I assure you, if your number's 80, stick to your number. Don't bend it. Maybe those numbers are really close, and maybe you're willing to because you got enough money. But I'm just from experience, just don't try to outbid yourself. Right, essentially is what I'm trying to get to.
Yeah, I feel like, I know you and I are both guilty of this, and every investor has been doing this long enough, is when you start like manipulating numbers and you deep down know you shouldn't be manipulating numbers, it's like, that's a red flag. You're manipulating those numbers because you want the deal, and guess what? You're getting a little bit emotionally attached, and like, just don't do it. Some of the best deals you do are the ones you don't do. So
you posted something like that one time, and I was in the middle of just a really bad flip, and I've had some really bad flips. And I go back to something you just said, but me and Kevin, we would hop on, we were buying a lot of deals back in 2022, 21, and then 22 came, and you know what happened. But 20, 20, and 21, we were buying a lot of deals. And we would hop on the phone every time, and we would run comps together right there. On the MLS, he would hop on MLS, I would hop on Zillow, we would run it together. And we'd make a yes, no call right then and there. And what we would always say, we'd always laugh, like, if it's taking too long to find comps, we're like, yeah, this ain't a deal. Like, why is it taking us?
That's good. That's really good. Yeah.
So we like put this timer, like, bro, it's taking us way too long to find comps. We're struck because we're jumping 3 streets over past the comps that's on the street to go grab this comp over here. It's like, yeah, bro, we're way too invested in trying to find and justify these numbers. And so no, let's just not do the deal. Joe, I love that advice, bro. That's good stuff.
It's same thing as a private lender too. Exact same thing. If I'm like, I've never heard of that city. That's probably not a good thing. And if I can't find comps, it's like, I don't know how to do this. Like, how am I going to mitigate risk here? How am I going to mitigate the risk for the investor as well? You know, it's funny. It's so true. So,
well, cool, Tez. So
yeah, no, absolutely. Well, man, before we hop, what do you have going on right now? Where can people find you? Any last minute parting words, man? This has been a lot of fun, so I hate to leave, but
yes, all good, bro. Well, hey, man, I want to tell you, thank you so much for inviting me, bro. Anybody who's watching, man, you're watching the go-giver at work, man. This guy definitely is somebody who's willing to give you the information, all the things I said about buyers and information and things like that. This dude is just a go-giver, and I love his heart. I appreciate you for inviting me, man. I would say, if you're not already, please follow me on Instagram at Tez Arbertha. It's literally just the @ sign and my first and last name. Please go check me out. And then in terms of things I got going on, man, I'm always speaking at events. If you have an event you'd like for me to come bring value, talk mindset, talk sales, talk real estate, I would love it. And Verified Flippers is always here. We're now on the school platform where it's pretty much like a monthly subscription for you to come learn how to wholesale. You get coaching calls, you get community, and you get actual steps for you to go out and get your first, second, third, or 50th deal. Always adding training in there to help you scale your business. So, thanks so much for the opportunity, bro.
Awesome, guys. I will leave all those things you mentioned in the show notes. Absolutely. You got to go check it out. It's just a no-brainer. Definitely worth your time, guys. So thank you so much. Tez, big honor. Super excited for you to be on the podcast. Thank you so much, brother. And you guys have a blessed day. Bye.
Yep.